tight.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ross Patterson Revolution! Brought to you by GhostBed.com.
Jabes,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
I love you in yellow, by the way.
Do you?
It's a bold choice.
Why?
You don't see people wear yellow enough, I think.
Oh, okay. Is that what you wanted to say?
You pull it off. No,
Okay,
seriously, you look
thank
hot.
you, thank
look hot.
you.
It's one of those odd colors that a lot of people can't pull it off. We made some T-shirts a while back, and I asked for yellow for this one specific shirt. And no lie, and this is from a T-shirt company who was trying to make a sale.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey, man, as much as I want your money, like, nobody orders yellow T-shirts." And I was like, "Oh, all right."
Yeah,
Sorry.
you know, it's very specific. I've been told a couple times that it brightens my skin tone. So I'll take any help I can get.
You look great.
Oh, thanks.
Did you get some sun?
I did get a little sun. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
We got
I
different
did.
sun.
We got two different sons. Why? Because we have two different sons. It's hard
Right.
with a 1.5-year-old and then a 6-year-old because 1.5-year-old is crazy, doesn't understand the world. The 6-year-old understands things and wants to go to a different spot.
1 second. We got two different sons because we have two different sons. And I don't want that to
Yeah.
just be brushed over because brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Brilliant.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
I mean, we can go probably now.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think anything needs
That's
to be
something you
said.
end
no?
on. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Really is.
Yeah. So I can take one of the sons.
And I take the other son,
Mm-hmm.
and then we go underneath two different sons.
Blamo.
Blamo.
Some would
blamo.
say the same son. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was down.
don't.
Was
It's a
down in
different type
Carolina
of-
Beach on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And you were uptown. But I'm, Carolina Beach is far, obviously. So.
Right.
Right. It is what it is. I heard we missed a cookout too at Drew LaMax's house for Drinkin Bros. I didn't know.
Just want to let you guys know, any
gone.
social event planning needs to go through
Jessie
me.
Wiseman, not Ross Patterson.
Not Ross Patterson. If Ross was in charge of our social calendar, I would literally hang out with no one
Yep.
and do nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
And every Monday I would get a call that was like, "Hey, where were you guys?" And I'd be like, "What?" "Yeah, we emailed Ross about the,
Yep.
birthday party of your best friend or whatever." It would never happen.
You had a freak out when I had my phone plugged into the Apple CarPlay, and you can see the text messages on there, and you were like, "Is that real? You have 403 unchecked text messages?" And I said, "Yeah, it is."
I don't know why.
There's a lot of reasons for that, James. There's a lot going on, and I try to keep my phone away from me. Like, I don't keep it on the desk or anything up here. I just want to concentrate on the show and things like that. And then we're doing more shows, so those text messages last for 4 hours. So I kind of pick out what's important that I have to get back to ASAP. And then I'll usually call friends individually if it's gone too long, and I'll catch a text message from a month ago and be like, "Hey, man, I apologize. I'm a shitty friend." And I did that, I think, twice over the weekend. And people were like, "Oh, man, that's amazing." One of mine was a friend in LA that I haven't talked to in maybe 2 years. And he reached out to me about this one project. And I didn't get back to him. And he emailed me and everything. And I just picked up the phone and called him. And I was like, "Hey, I'm really sorry." And he was like, "No." He goes, "Actually, I don't really mind this." He goes, "It's great that you called me." He goes, "Nobody calls me anymore." And I was like, "Well, I'm calling you." I would rather just talk to people, I guess, than just to file through text messages. And I don't want to be on the phone in front of you and the kids as much that I am at work. So it's like, sorry about that. But friend-wise, I'm probably not the best of friends these days.
Oh my gosh, that's just the first thing I thought when I was like, how come I didn't get an email or something?
Yeah.
Maybe I did,
saw it.
to be honest, on Facebook, which you guys know I'm not.
I never saw it.
I don't love to enter the dumpster fire that is Facebook too much.
Yeah.
So if it's not a DM on Instagram or a text or an email, I probably won't get it.
No,
but
and I get it. And
you got a straight text, and but you know,
you wear the pants. Like you, as far as like, hey,
social
socially
stuff.
Yes, socially, let's keep
Because
everything
again,
together.
if it was up to you, we would literally just barbecue at our house, invite no one.
I love my family so much that I don't really.
Now stop it.
You know that's true.
I know, but stop that because that makes me sound like I don't because I want to hang out with people.
No, you're a social butterfly, whereas I'm like, I love going out and all that other stuff.
Right.
There just isn't enough time. And right now, out of the media company, I think we're doing 62 shows a month.
Sure.
So, yeah, I've got to stay on top of editing and all that other bullshit and make sure thumbnails and everything else is going out appropriately. Because it's audio and video, so I guess technically it's 124 shows, right?
Right.
It's tough. So when I get home, I want to see my kids and my wife, and that's it.
For sure. And it's not like it's super easy every time or it's something you always want to do, but that's, you got to.
No, I know.
And I always have to tell you, like, hey.
Oh, I understand.
You need to have that balance. You have to hang out with people. You have to try and be a good friend. Not that you're not a good friend to your friends that you've had, but in making new friends, I know I've definitely had conversations with you about like, hey,
yeah.
That's what you got to do. I've been like ask them how they're doing.
I think Big Dick Danoff is in the room here on the used tubes. And,
probably.
There was a thing where he had hit me up on like Facebook about something, like DM'd me, and I was just like, man, I'll just call you, because I missed it for like a week, and I called him, and he was like, oh shit, I can't believe you called, and I was like, yeah, I would rather call people.
Right.
I'd rather give him a shout out. Want to say my condolences are out to you today.
To me.
Yeah. You know what today is, right?
What happened?
2 years for the big guy.
Oh.
2 years today.
Yeah.
Hold him up to camera.
Yeah.
Hold the Bourdain up to camera.
My illegitimate father.
2 years since the passing today.
2 years ago. He's been really speaking to me from the grave during these times,
Has he?
During these hard times. He would have absolutely, I feel like he would have hated this coronavirus, whatnot.
I think he checked out just in time, to be honest with you.
He really
might
did,
have been clairvoyant.
That's kind of like what I've been hearing from him. It's just like, phew, buddy.
Yeah. I think he checked out at the right point. Because with everything that's going on right now, it's so crazy that a guy like him would be so frustrated by all of it, and especially not traveling. Imagine him being stuck in his house in New York City. I'm assuming he lived there. I think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a couple different
probably would have
places
turned to heroin again.
Definitely. And he was also letting
restaurants are closed.
He was actually
for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Travel. Dude, if he had to stay home,
he would have
for
ended
longer
it already.
than a month.
He would have ended it this year.
Yeah, exactly. So, but he was kind of letting Trump really get to him. So I'm not sure.
There's a lot of people, by the way.
How he would have dealt with this, because he was starting to go on a
spiral.
Yeah.
A lot of people are.
So this would have just pushed him over the edge. So he's happy to not be here during all of this. To be honest.
I'm sure he is. A lot of people are spiraling, and it's so strange to see, because I don't know what's going to happen here in 5 months for this election.
Right.
Because I haven't seen Biden at all. The new CNN poll just came out about half hour before we went on air. It has Biden up by 14 points in this poll. I don't know in what world they live in as far as CNN goes, but that would be the biggest historical blowout that I can remember, I think, for a presidency in quite some time, if that was the case. And I can't remember a president who is currently president losing by that much on a second run.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I actually don't know what's going to happen.
To put this in context, by the way,
yeah.
At the same point when he ran in 2016, they had Hillary up by 16. And we saw what happened with that. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Me personally, like, again, and we've said this on the show a million times, I don't care who you voted for. This is the beauty of democracy. You can go out and do whatever you want, right? I think it is irresponsible, though, on the media's, from the media's standpoint of putting out polls like this that probably aren't real. Because, look, if you're a Democrat and you read this and you're like, I don't really have to go out and vote. He's up by 14. I got other shit to do that day.
Yeah, I guess here's my point. If the election was tomorrow, I think that's probably accurate, to be honest with you. So, but it's not. You know, things are going to die down. Economy's going to go back up and all these things are going to happen. But I will say, if it was today, I actually believe that begrudgingly people would vote for Biden.
I don't think so, but I think it would be very close. I think it would be close.
Just saying, it's not great right now.
The economy's great.
Okay.
So it's tough. It depends on what you vote for and why. What's your biggest? What your biggest things are that you look forward to, like from a president, and what that means to you. You know, mine is economy, and that's always number one for me. It is. And everything else is afterwards. I just want to make sure everybody's doing well financially, friends and family and all that other shit. But that's me. I don't know what would happen. I think it would be very close right now. The only thing is I haven't seen Biden out anywhere at all, which is strange during all of this. What I did see, though, seconds before we came on air, that made me laugh till the end of the world, and they're going to get absolutely hammered for this, and they are getting hammered for this right now on Twitter, is House and Senate Democrats unveil their expansive police reform bill wearing the kente cloth handed out by the Congressional Black Caucus. Now, this is real, and you're going to see this forever. The memes are going to be endless of this. Type in kente on your computer in Google so you can see this, because it's crazy. The lookup computer is not working today. But type this in, Kente, and pull up the picture. Is it? Boy. I don't know who thought this was a good idea.
Okay. So it's very...
This is traditional African...
Nubian, yeah.
Garb. And right now, people are really pissed off about it.
Ghana.
Yes.
I know Ghana.
Yep, you do. They all took a knee and a moment of silence for for George Floyd, obviously.
Okay.
They are getting absolutely fucking destroyed for this on social media right now.
Why?
This is very tone deaf, man. It's all first of all, it's all white people.
Right.
It's all white Democrats wearing traditional African garb. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but they are getting crushed by it. The comments are like, these people had the power to make us safer, and now they just throw on our cloth in front of a camera for fucking what? How does this help? Right. I mean, it is just a barrage of comments right now it's a flurry. I guess this is going on live right now on Capitol Hill. So we're kind of just catching the story as it starts. Nancy Pelosi is giving a speech with it on, and then she led the moment of silence for George Floyd, and Chuck Schumer, and they all dropped to a knee.
It's a shame
inside
because
of Congress. All
of that would have been fine.
Yes. Had you not worn
and
these.
You should do, right? But
the kente. Boy. That's
old people, dude.
That's the thing about it's
old white people.
That's the thing about the election and all that shit. Like, if you watch this right before you went and voted tonight, who knows? You know, who knows?
Who knows? I don't know.
But the world's getting crazy, man. I mean, look, the Looney Tunes is being remade on HBO Max right now, and they announced this. They made an announcement before it came out, where it was like, what's the announcement? It's Looney Tunes.
We need a teaser for Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it's like it's the same people, right? Bugs Bunny and everybody else.
Yeah. Like, we're good.
It is. But the big announcement before they unveil the reboot of Looney Tunes is Elmer Fudd is no longer going to carry a gun. Just let it sink in.
What's
if
he
you're
gonna
a
do?
Looney Tunes fan, you watched it as a kid as much as I did. The entire character of Elmer Fudd is just chasing around Bugs Bunny with a rifle. Or shotgun or whatever it is. And then just twisting it up in a knot. Mm-hmm. They said he's going to use a Sith now, which is basically like a sling blade, like a Grim Reaper blade to chase him. I don't know how that's any better.
Yeah, that's not any better.
No, it's not. And HBO Max is or whatever. There's 90 different versions of HBO now. It's just combined into one. Just call it HBO. I don't understand. HBO Go,
It's
HBO
supposed to be
Now,
like an
HBO
old
Max.
prospector type of old country dude, right? Like they have shotguns.
No, he's like an old hunter.
Yeah.
Whereas Yosemite Sam, he's an old prospector type of dude.
Okay.
They're taking now he was pistols, and they're taking his guns away too.
Okay.
And someone asked if they were still going to have the dynamite that blows up or dropping pianos on people's heads from the sky and all of the other Acme, shit that comes along with that.
Yeah.
And they go, oh yeah, we're definitely do that.
Oh.
So it's fine apparently if you want to stuff a lit stick of dynamite in somebody's mouth and watch their head blow up.
Oh.
But you definitely can't carry a gun anymore.
Okay.
So if you're out there and you're wondering like, what are the standards?
But it
for
was like a rabbit, right? A bunny.
It will overall. It's a cartoon.
Just saying, I know. But if you're
Not
really
a real
gonna like,
person.
no, and I know. But if you're really gonna like get in there, he is hunting a rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's pretty normal,
It's
right?
rabbit season.
Yeah.
It's not anymore. I don't know. I haven't met too many of my friends who are hunters.
I think they should just take the personality away from Bugs Bunny, right? And just make him like a normal bunny that doesn't talk. And then you'd be like, oh, okay, like he's hunting.
I guess, man. I mean, this is... Look, I said this a couple weeks ago when I talked about the Lea Michele thing, right? I just said, get ready because everything's about to be stripped from everybody.
Yes.
They're going to come after everything and everyone. Cartoons are now going to be changed. Everything.
Yes.
It's all happening right in front of our faces right now.
Yeah.
And it's so bizarre to see. Because essentially you're just, I guess rewriting your own history for everything across the board. Your country, cartoons, media, everything is being rewritten across the board. And if you don't fit in or you don't, play ball with what the new rewrites are going to be and how PC everything is going to become, you're out.
Yeah, they're not letting people speak out for Black Lives Matter, BLM, whatever, without pointing out all of the things that they've done in the past, which for some people is, they need to be called out. But I feel like just let the message be there.
A bunch of editors, by the way, around the nation are either getting fired or resigned from newspapers. New York Times was one of them last night. The guy who runs the op-ed section is gone. He's out after 20 years. Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Gazette, that guy's gone. There's another guy in like Virginia that's out as well. There is stories that these journalists want to write, and the higher-ups are saying, no, you cannot do this. I don't know which way it's on, to be honest with you. I'm assuming because it's the Times. Like we'll start with the New York Times first. They're super left, obviously, right? I would imagine either the story wasn't left enough or was too right for their taste. But that's frightening. And whatever happened was in the middle of the night last night, and he was just like, I'm out. I'm all done with this after 20 years of work.
Wow.
Which is really, really strange. Same with the guy in Pittsburgh. And some of these, they're even questioning headlines. And so they said, hey, man, you've got to be more sensitive about these headlines. So now you've got journalists in these think groups that are trying to come up with headlines that will satisfy everybody on a PC level across the board, and that's not what the press is. Usually, you have some, grabbing headline that's just like, oh yeah, there's this going on, and then you read it. If you take that out of there, the paper isn't already sexy as it used to be. Now it's going to be even worse. So
their headlines were getting pretty bad, though, to be honest. Like very dramatic, fear mongering.
Yes.
So I don't think that's a bad thing.
Well, here's the thing. The question is, did these guys not want to play ball because they didn't want this fear mongering, or because they
wanted?
Yeah. And I don't have the answer to that. I don't know why these people left, and they haven't said yet. I'm assuming one of them will come out and say, hey, man, here's why I left and here's what went down. Yeah. So I don't know. Because even Drudge Report, which was typically a conservative news site, has just become super fear-mongering. And God damn it, it is depressing to read now.
Right.
Every story is a doomsday story on there. And it's shocking where you're like, all right, is that... I look at a guy like Matt Drudge. He's always been ahead of the trend media-wise, which is why his site has been number one for, 25 years or something at this point. He got his big bump was during the impeachment for Bill Clinton. So yeah, over 20 years at this point. He's been the number one news website there is, and he hasn't changed at all. Like his text and font has been the same for 20 years. There's nothing flashy. There's maybe 3 or 4 pictures on it every day, and that's it. But he switched to all fear-mongering shit. And I wonder, because he's been so great at trends for so many years, if he saw that's what everybody was clicking and was like, time to switch. And I wonder if that's what the newspapers are doing too, of like, hey man, time to switch.
Right.
We got to sell shit. We got to get these ad buys in, or we're fucked.
Yeah, it's true.
So I don't know, but I'm going to keep an eye on this one because it's really, really interesting. The other thing that was super interesting that happened last night was the Minneapolis City Council voted to defund and disband the police and come up with some form of alternative neighborhood policing.
Defunding.
Yeah, police.
That's the answer, so make them more pissed.
Here's the thing.
And underpaid.
We're going to do an emergency Drinkin Bros podcast episode today. We're going to go live, me and D'Anthony, about this topic today to go over this. But this is the craziest shit I've ever heard. And I know I've said that a lot about things. This one, this tops it all. Could you imagine a world without police? No. Minneapolis is a big city.
Right.
What do you do?
I mean, it's not going to be without.
Yeah. Like they want alternate versions of the police where it's more like, neighborhood watches and calling other people and things like that. Good luck. Good luck with that. There's over 150 million guns in America right now. If we don't have police with guns to help protect us, what's to stop any crime spree, home invasion, carjacking, anything you could possibly think of if there isn't real police?
But then there's no stopping you from just shooting them.
I guess.
If they come on your property, anything.
I mean, that you might as well live in the Wild Wild West at that point.
Yeah, that's what everyone's saying on here. Like, that's what it would go back to, right?
Which, look, I'm fine with. But, there is things where you're going to need the police in your life. Well, I mean, currently, Oh,
dude. Yes and no. But yeah.
I mean, fuck you, dude. This is the craziest shit of all time. Somebody posted a picture of a high dive with an empty pool underneath it and said, this is what it is. This is what it'd be like. You might as well just go ahead and leap off the high dive into an empty concrete pool, because that's what the world would be like without police.
Right.
This scares the shit out of me. That this is even a thought. And this mayor here, this fucking guy, Jacob Fry out of Minneapolis, he can't even veto it. And, you know.
He wants to, though.
He wants to.
Yeah.
I saw him yesterday. He was at a protest, and that video went viral where, you know, he went up to the Black Lives Matter protest, and they recognized who he was. They called him up. They told him to denounce his whiteness, which he did. And it's a really strange video that went viral. And then afterwards they said, one more thing. We'll accept you into our community and we'll accept your apologies. Are you going to defund the police? And it was a woman standing overhead with a bullhorn right in his face. Mm-hmm. And he was like, no, I don't believe in that. She was like, is that true? You don't believe in that? And she goes, get the fuck out of here. And then he walked out through what looked like 5,000 to 10,000 people, and all of them had a middle finger up in his face.
Jesus.
If you look on TMZ, they summed it up best. They said it was the worst walk of shame you could possibly ever see. And it's like, you know, it's this scared young white guy just walking through a protest, and you know, you can't defund the police, man. There's a strange part of me that wants that to happen in Minneapolis, just as a test, just as a test case of like, hey man, great, defund the police, right. Disband the police, don't have them at all, and then see what happens for, I don't know, a week, just 1 week, and see how that goes. Could you imagine?
No.
Stoplight goes out. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You get people from the neighborhood directing traffic.
Trying to get into
it's
our
little
school.
Little things like that. A car accident. Take a picture on your own, send it in your insurance company. I don't need to make a report.
Get yourself a ride.
Yeah. This is so wild that we're going to dedicate an entire show to this on Drinkin Bros podcast later, but I cannot believe it. I honestly cannot believe it. I mean, the joke of it was back in the day when like Public Enemy was out. 911's a joke where they were calling 911 and asking for police or fire department or whatever it was, and that they were late and that it took a long time. And that's, you know, people were pissed off about it. Communities were pissed off about it. You did need the police, though. So imagine if you have none. Who are you calling?
Right.
Is your neighbors over? At that point, you might as well just band up with all your buddies and just say, hey, you all got guns?
Right.
Let's all move into a neighborhood together and figure this out.
Just caress it. You know what I mean? Let's just caress it. Jim Jones it.
There was a friend of mine on Facebook who wrote about this, and he was just like, man, this is the first time I've thought about just moving somewhere off the grid where, you know, shit's just too wild right now. It's too hot right now.
It's too hot right now.
And he's just like, I was like, where are you going to go? And he goes, I don't know, man. Kind of always wanted to go to Ireland, like live in the countryside or something like that. I was like, all right. Bold decision.
You're
certainly don't fault you for it.
You'll miss the drama, though.
I don't know if you would, to be honest with you.
I don't know if you would.
Would you? Or would you like to be an outsider, like a spectator looking in at what's going on right now and being like, man, that country's fucked. Glad I don't live there anymore.
I'm just happy the COVID's over. Do you know what I mean? Because we've moved the fuck on. And I have to say, on a little bit of a serious note, I do like seeing pretty much every person on Instagram and everyone posting about this issue.
COVID?
No.
Okay. I was like,
we've moved on from COVID.
I was going to say, I haven't seen one post on that.
No, for Black Lives Matter and the movement and everything like this.
Yeah.
Like, it's more than in my lifetime. I know there's been protests and waves of protests and change that's happened before me, but in my lifetime, this is the most that I've seen everyone post about it. And I have to say I like it.
Well, I'll say this. The last time it happened, Dan and I were talking about this on a show, was 2016, right before the election. Same thing. That was Ferguson, if you remember correctly.
Oh, yeah.
So there was, riots and protests all over the nation.
Yeah, but...
And it was almost the exact same month, I think, as it is now, which is strange.
But there was more rhetoric about, he was bad, he was a bad kid. He was stealing from a liquor store. Like, all things that now we see don't matter. Like, even this thing with George Floyd, I'll say really quick, like trying to make him seem like this really great guy and he's, you know, great father and all these things. It's okay if he wasn't. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if he was a bad guy. He's still like
a person.
It's irrelevant to the fact of him dying in that way. Like why we can't say like, yeah, he was a crackhead. He was hopped up on meth. He was trying to pay for something in $20. Still should not have been murdered, right? Yeah. But we still need to like, and with Ferguson, it was very much like he was a bad kid. He was blah, blah, blah. All these things that made it easier for people to just kind of, that are not in that community, not listen. And it sort of seems like now pretty much everyone is posting about it.
Yeah.
More than I've ever seen for things like this.
Well,
or any other person that this has happened to.
I think two things have happened in the last 4 years that make it different. I think social media has become bigger and a bigger tool, and especially for, you know, I would say the millennials, although you are one. Cusper, we got a Cusper over here.
I'm right on the cusp, but
Cusper millennial. I
just really like vibe more with my generation, you know, than you. But go ahead, I can learn.
But I think with that, like Instagram is massive now, TikTok is massive now. Whereas 2016, Instagram was it was on the come up, right? But Facebook was huge. Which Facebook still is. Facebook is still Facebook. But now you have, and Twitter has become bigger since Trump got elected. I mean, their numbers, they've added, you know, millions of more subscribers and all that other shit. So I think there's more outlets, social media-wise, for people to get their message out. And it's in your face every day because we've also got conditioned as people that we're on essentially, you know, the same 3 or 4 apps most of the day: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and I guess TikTok now, which, you know, if you want to substitute that with Vine back in the day, you can. And I think because of people's followings and how big social media personalities or influencers, I hate that fucking term, but how big that they've become and how many millions of followers you're able to go out to, that you're able to get a message out more. You and I watched that thing over the weekend where the biggest social media stars are giving away their Twitter accounts to anyone in the black community who wants to post about positive
stuff
black
like
stories.
That and
like Selena Gomez is one of them.
Going, yeah.
She's 129 million followers. That is half the country. I mean, that's it's almost half the country at that point. She's giving up her account. Like, who is it? Cardi B. Cardi B doing live streams with Bernie Sanders. Like, you don't have that opportunity to go on television anymore, to go on Jimmy Fallon or CNN and get that many eyeballs paying attention or watching or caring that you do now on social media. And I don't think that was the same case 4 years ago. And therefore, I think that's why you're seeing it more and more in this
it's just
issue.
Different.
It is.
It just feels different.
It does.
And it feels like even if it's a little step, it feels like a step forward from any other murder in this way before. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, not that it was brushed under the rug, but it was only really important to certain communities and not to everyone.
Right.
So
right.
It just feels different, and I like it. And after being so depressed about seeing the world in masks and scared to be around each other, I like that this is now what I'm seeing everywhere. Just makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, there's a lot more positivity. The COVID thing and the mask thing freaked me the fuck out. I just didn't want that to be our way of life.
Felt like, yeah.
But the more and more I go out, the less and less mask I see and everything, and it's comforting. I went to dinner. I took my parents to dinner on Saturday night, and not one single person, not one, including the waiters or the hostess or anyone.
They're done, huh?
Yes, no one was wearing masks. It was great.
Interesting.
So great.
I think they're supposed to be.
There was not tables. It was a nice restaurant.
Okay.
There wasn't tables blocked off or anything. Mm-hmm. All the tables were open.
Well, don't say who it is. You might be getting them in trouble.
I'm not going to, but
okay.
I will say this was a nice restaurant.
Sure.
You and I went there 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but that was like when it first
opened.
Yeah.
I think it was the first night it opened, or any restaurants open here at quarter capacity or whatever it is. And our waiters, waiters wearing masks and the hostesses and all that other stuff. Last Saturday night, no one was. I was just like, all right, cool, man. We're past that at least, and that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
But you know what isn't positive, James?
What?
Sex scenes in Hollywood.
Why is it not positive?
You're not going to see them anymore. So the new article that came out today said that to be COVID compliant for all because everybody's union on all of these movies and TV shows, and they want everybody to be compliant on COVID still, that they're going to go back to the writers' rooms, either write out some of the sex scenes, change them, have less people getting kissed and or hugged, it says, and or CGI'd. They've already spoken with the editors union as well, and they're going to say, hey guys, we're going to try to work on this to get this CGI'd and everything else. And it's like, this is the end, beautiful friend, the end.
It was already over though.
I know, but it's weird. Even television, but television was still pushing the boundaries.
Well, yeah. I only watch documentaries at this point, so Hollywood's over for me anyways.
Yeah, you're all done with it, Jabes.
I'm done with it. It's a waste of my time at this point when there's something else I can watch that is.
Sure. You know what I watched last night? I watched the doc last night. Shit, we should actually get to the sponsor first before we talk about that doc. But and
we do need to touch on Lance as well.
Oh yeah, both these we'll touch on after this. First and foremost, ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. I've had way too much Strike Force today.
That's obvious.
I am tripping over my words today because of the Strike Force. I was worried. I go to the beach.
Sure.
Have a nice sleep in a ghost bed. And am I going to have that energy come Monday morn? It's here. Might have been a little too much.
Yeah.
I got the shakes a little bit today.
We might dial it back in the future.
Man,
water it down. Dial it back and water it down, right?
Ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. 25% off everything in the entire store. So there is people who are, not open and all that other shit. They said that they would keep going. They're still going. If you order a mattress, you get 2 free pillows with it. I can promise you this: the pillows, almost better than the mattress. Would you say?
I just feel like they go hand in hand.
They're perfect.
You need both to get the full experience.
2 free pillows. Bang bang. Go to ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. Today, as always, they got the 36-month pay-as-you-go program. No interest in that, Jabes. None. So that deal is still applicable with whatever your purchase is. Get wet. Next up, Javes, we got StrikeForceEnergy.com.
Boom, 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 boom. Shabloinker.
Oh, man. Look. I just talked
you are tripping over your dong, as Richard says.
Yes, I am definitely stepping on my dong.
Sure.
My whang. I'm banging my whang around here with my words today.
Right.
I've had too much of this.
Yeah.
Too much today. I got to put it down. Oh. That's what it is. It's a tasty, tiny little tin pouch. You rip it open and squeeze it into any liquid available. Go to StrikeForceEnergy.com today. Promo code REVOLUTION, 20% off. Comes in these boxes, dude. Boom. Same ones you get at 7-Eleven. They're amazing. It goes in everything. No carbs, no sugars. No gluten if you're into that. Lasts longer than 5-hour energy, too. So you can get fucked. Next up, James, we got Postmates. Yeah.
Oh.
Love the Postmates.
Do ya?
It's the best. Postmates is the best.
Yeah, I got a couple people over the weekend to sign up for Postmates. They were a formerly, I won't say the name of the app, but you guys can probably guess what it was.
Yeah.
And they were very pleased and very excited.
Switch over to Postmates.
The money that they got. And I was kind of like a celebrity because I'm like, just use my promo code. And then.
Yeah. Promo code REVOLUTION will get you $100 in free delivery charges, which is amazing because the delivery fees
it knocked off so much money.
It's
yeah,
crazy.
They were
right?
like, "Oh my god!"
I know, it's awesome. It's the best. So if you're not with Postmates, switch over. Get the app. Every food item you can imagine can be delivered to your house. Cigarettes, booze, depending upon which state you live in.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that. I was like, oh man, because I don't know if it's in North Carolina because it's an ABC store.
It kind of depends on where you're at, on what you can get,
I didn't
but
even
they'll
get,
let you know on there.
Yeah, wine and beer.
Well,
and
they'll go to Walgreens,
Yeah.
so it's like if they have wine at your Walgreens or beer or whatever, you
Oof.
can get it there.
I love it. I love it so much. Saving a lot of DUIs out there. Bring me booze. Get the Postmates app today. Promo code REVOLUTION. $100 and free delivery fees. Last but not least, James, we got straightrazors.com.
Ooh, that's a clean cut. Smooth. Oh, you right?
Oh, damn right. I love it. I don't just like it. I love it.
Right.
Straightrazors.com has got everything you need to be a real man in this life. Get your Father's Day kit there. Don't fuck your father over this year.
Oh, gosh. I would order now.
Now. Yes. Go now.
Order now.
When is Father's Day?
21st.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Whew. Coming around the corner. Coming around the bend, huh?
Yeah.
Go to straightrazors.com today. Promo code REVOLUTION. 20% off there. Everything you need to be a real man in this life, they got it there. Shaving cream, beard oils, shampoos, conditioners. You name it. Mustache waxes. It is all there. Go to straightrazors.com. Promo code REVOLUTION. Gets you 20% off. There was some docs that I was excited about seeing. Last night was one of them. We'll start with that one.
Okay.
It was Be Water. Bruce Lee.
Okay.
That's how he says it. I love his voice, by the way.
It's very soothing.
He was just fucking cool.
Yeah.
Could he actually beat anybody's ass in real life?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
But, gosh.
Man, he was a tiny man.
You wouldn't want to test it.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't
You
know.
never know.
No.
Yeah.
So I was amped to see this one because I was like, oh, shit, man. I love Bruce Lee. I think he's cool as shit. He's stood the test of time, that guy.
Sure.
And he's a fucking fashion icon, dude. Go back and look at the shit he was wearing.
Oh, for sure.
You can only do that with a dainty Prince body like that.
I was just going to say, you cannot.
No. Regular dudes like us can't get away with that shit, but he could.
Well, I wanted to do an Instagram on that vein a little bit. I wanted to do an Instagram that's called Fat or Fashion, where I would wear the same thing that this tiny, like super skinny person is wearing and be like, do you like it now? Or did you just like it because it was like on a stick? You know what I mean? Like weird stuff that like doesn't translate to a normal body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, that's ugly. And I'm like, oh, what if I put it on her?
Exactly.
Oh, fashion.
It is, right?
High fashion.
Yeah. If not, pig.
Yeah.
That's people would blurt out on the internet. Pig.
Sure. Thank you.
You get killed for it.
Thanks,
no,
Ross.
Not you. I'm talking about it, like everybody else where it's just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You're a thin, dainty little woman.
No.
You're a tiny little lady.
No.
Yeah, pocket size.
But it's okay.
We call you pocket size around the house.
I'm really okay with it.
There's sometimes I don't even see you in the house. You're just so tiny.
Come out of the mouse hole?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, family. Yeah. That's sort of how it is around our house.
It is. You're just so tiny I can't see you.
So tiny, yeah.
But the Bruce Lee doc, this is going to be unpopular. And I'm sorry. I was not that big of a fan of it.
Because?
Whenever you have a doc where somebody's dead and it, the height of their fame was in like the early 70s.
It's hard to get
everybody's
footage.
dead, man. So like
yeah.
The interviews were mostly overlaid over like stock footage.
I hate that. That
I
was
did too.
The problem with the Eric Clapton one.
Mm-hmm.
That was another one I was excited for, but there just wasn't enough footage and there wasn't enough people
interviews
that could talk about him currently, I guess.
Well, his wife is still alive, but the problem is his son isn't. Brandon Lee got killed on the Crow, so like he wasn't alive, but his wife is still alive, and yeah, I was expecting more interviews from the actual people themselves, and I was expecting more out of the footage, like, find some B-roll, some shit that nobody's ever seen before. Like, one of the
I'm
only.
sure they tried.
I guess, man.
It's 30 for 30. If anyone's gonna get it.
But here's the weird thing, and why I say that. Like, when he died, he had a couple different funerals. They have footage of him in the casket and the funerals going on. It was just like, all right, if there was cameras around all the time, where is the rest of this?
Right.
So I don't know. And like somebody had mentioned in the documentary that he only made like 4 films.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there just wasn't enough. But the things, there was also like, there was some people writing on Twitter last night. They were like, oh, the messaging is so current to today. His biggest gripe, Bruce Lee's was there was a couple shows he was up for. One was that Kung Fu show that ended up with the guy who strangle-baited to death, Carradine. Ended up getting it, and he was a white man doing Kung Fu. And the things that Bruce Lee personally was bitching about the entire time was like, they won't give a Chinese man a chance in Hollywood. That Hollywood is against Asians, and there's not proper representation and everything else, which is what people are saying today regarding other races and cultures, right? Mm-hmm. My biggest issue with that is I don't know. It's selfish that you think you can move from China to America and then want to be like a movie star in Hollywood in American pictures. Mm-hmm. I don't understand it. The percentage of Asian Americans in our country, in particular then, it's very, very small. Mm-hmm. With Hollywood, they're trying to make the biggest movies and TV shows there is that go out to the broadest audience. That's how you make money. Mm-hmm. To expect to be leads in TV shows and movies and shit, like coming from China, if it was reversed, like, and I went over to China to star in their movies, I wouldn't expect to get casted in anything. Of like, hey, why isn't, or like a white guy or a black guy or a Latino, if we all went to China and we just said, hey, we really want to be in Chinese movies, we'd be like, why? There's not enough of you here. We can't sell to that box office. And I found it odd, like that he didn't start there first and build a huge career and then cross over. Like Jackie Chan did that. Mm-hmm. Jackie Chan was like, yo, man, I fucking love my country and all this shit, and I'm making a ton of movies. And then, yeah, if I can cross over, great, but it's kind of weird to expect it. And I remember there was a friend of mine who was from Australia, white guy out in Hollywood, and thick accent, the one that you do the best.
Oh, right. Oi.
Yeah, oi.
Oh, oi.
Which is an awful
Australia. Oh, oi.
accent, right?
Sure.
And so one night we went drinking. He'd been there a couple years at this point. Went out drinking and we just kind of bullshitting about auditions and everything else that was going on. He's like, these American casting directors don't really fucking want me, and it's bullshit. We should have proper representation. I was like, of what? Of Australia? And he was like, well, yeah, mate, we got this, and everybody thinks we're Crocodile Dundee. He had said this to me at having drinks, and I was like, well, let me ask you this. Don't you guys have Australian movies and television over there? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, aren't they pretty big? Because from what I understand, like Nicole Kidman and Naomi Watts and all of them came off of shows that were on over there and then came over to America. Russell Crowe, Eric Bana, like there's a bunch of them. Hemsworths, for Christ's sakes, like later on. That crossed over after doing things there and then came over here. Like, what did you expect as an Australian guy coming to Hollywood? Like, unless there is a role that is written for an Australian dude, what else are you going to do? It's not like you can play the redneck at a gas station or, a point guard on a basketball team, or you're not going to star in a teen drama in New York City at that point, unless you're going to pretend to be an American. So what were you hoping for on that one, And he kind of just looked at me like, oh, wow, Mel Gibson did it.
Right.
I was like, yeah, but
without an accent.
Without an accent.
Yeah.
Like right now, Mel Gibson doesn't even have an accent. I didn't even know that guy was from fucking Australia when I met him. No idea. I was like, oh.
Well, I forgot.
Yeah.
I completely forgot.
That theme was very prevalent all throughout this documentary, and I was like, man, that doesn't represent that much of the culture. Like, it's tough to say I want to be a lead in a Hollywood movie, and I want my culture to be represented. It's like, you're in America, like it's tough. Like I couldn't go there to China and say, man, I want you to represent Americans properly. It just doesn't work like that. And I think I think he was looking at it from a different perspective, whereas when he started to blow up,
an American, but yeah.
Well, but that's where he was from first, and like they had some casting directors and some studio executives that did interviews in this movie. Again, you couldn't see them because they were fucking dead, but you heard their voices underneath. Like they would show stock footage from like Paramount Studios. They said this. They were like, "Look, he spoke in broken English. It's tough because there isn't a lot of roles written for people who speak in broken English."
Right.
So like, yeah, the one guy said, like, it was the head of, I think, Paramount, who said, look, he appeared to be super talented, but the way he spoke, it was tough to get that to translate to an American audience. And then he started doing his own movies and shit like that, and that's where he kind of blew up. But what I didn't know was the movies blew up after he died.
Oh, right.
So who knows what could have happened. But it's always one of those things where, you know, you die young before your hits come out. You're a legend forever.
Right.
And like even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was just like, yeah, man, who knows who he could have been today or what would have happened. We'll never have that answer, but it's always cooler when you die and it leaves all this mystery where you're like, man, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
The other part about it was I didn't know he died from like this weird, like kind of blood disorder or what do you call it? Right in your head when you get that's like a hematoma or whatever the fuck it is.
Okay, yeah.
Something like that. Something weird where he just kind of died.
Aneurysm or something.
Yeah. And he was married to this woman, but I guess there was this actress that was going to be in his next movie, and he died at her house. And it was like, okay.
Yeah.
He just said, I needed to lie down. I've got a migraine, and died in her house. Yeah. So it was strange. But that whole plight of, hey, man, this is why Bruce Lee didn't make it or whatever until later and everything else, I just thought was kind of odd where it was like, man, I would never assume that if I moved to a different country, I should automatically be a movie star there. It's tough.
It is tough because America is different. The broken English thing is hard, but it is hard if you're an American. You want to be represented here. But
it is, but you know this from a million auditions. The roles are pre-written, so you either have to go back in and rewrite them. There's only, because I was trying to think about it last night with the way he spoke. Right? Is there anybody today that has been able to get away with it in any, like, no matter what the script was? There's one guy that I can think of. That's it. It's McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey. He's got a real deep Southern drawl, man.
Right.
So everything he says. He's never changed. Like, the roles have changed for him, and they're just magically cool with him talking like that. Like Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah. It's in New York. He's a New York stockbroker. There was no back history of like, oh, he moved from Texas all the way to New York and became a broker. Yeah, but you just
assume.
Do you? Are you like when I saw it, I was like, oh man, well, it's just McConaughey showing up in a movie, and I love that on its own. Yeah. But clearly, it's a movie about New York stockbrokers, and he's like, come on. Yeah, that's it. And you're like, all right. Did you move from somewhere? Where was the backstory out on that? Lincoln Lawyer. You know, like there's a million movies and TV shows you can name where you're like, oh. So it's just, there's just that Southern guy in every single thing. Like, because a writer doesn't write like that. And the scripts are written in advance, so it's just, typically in there it says, so-and-so's got a thick New York accent, a thick Southern accent or whatever. Like, McConaughey's the only person who's just beat it all the way around, where he's like, I'll just keep being McConaughey and shit. But that's the only one I can name. Can you name anybody?
That can just do
them, who's just been them in a movie Costner. Over and over again? Yeah.
So Costner never does the accent of whatever movie he's in. He's trying a little bit with Yellowstone for the first time ever in his career. But before that, he was just, I mean, remember when he was Robin Hood?
He just gave up like a third away through the film and just was like,
He's done other things that he was supposed to be like very Southern and whatever. So Kevin Costner is somehow able, but he's a white guy. You know, it's hard.
Well, you always need a nondescript white guy, I guess, but like,
right.
But he does speak English, so
Sure.
You know, but yeah, Costner, fucking Robin Hood, man. That was my first thought. Was like, oh, you're just going to abandon that and give up on that altogether.
But I went with it. I was like, yeah. I guess
you saw him naked swimming in the fucking quarry.
So then I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. What you didn't
Somehow
know.
that mullet worked too on him.
What you didn't know is when he flipped over, he did flip over in that scene to get that dong bobbing in the water, and they cut that part. You can still see his ass in that movie, but it was one of the 8 movies that he got his ding dong cut out of.
He really wanted dong in there. Couldn't get it. The other doc I wanted to talk about a little bit is Lance
Armstrong, yeah.
Reason being, my gosh. So I didn't want to watch it.
No, you were against it.
I said on this show even, I was like, I have seen everything that I've needed to see on Lance Armstrong, his whole story. I've seen all 3 documentaries. Like, I've, listened to all the stuff. I've listened to him on Rogan, all of these things. Unless there is some new information or he wants to talk about things in a different way, I'm good. Mm-hmm. And you showed it to me and was like, listen, they hate him too.
Yeah.
So how do you get a documentary made about yourself with no say whatsoever about what ultimately comes out? That seems crazy because clearly this is not the documentary
he's trying to
Lance would want out there.
He's trying to rehab his image, right? He's got a podcast. He's got a bunch of shit. And he's also reached out to people that he's called them. Black Rifle Coffee was one of them. He's reached out to a lot of people to rehab his image and get himself back out there more. And I think that he didn't have a choice with this one, where ESPN probably came to him and said, hey, we're going to do this 30 for 30 doc. I think it's what you said because you were like, I don't want to see this. I've seen every fucking last Netflix doc of Lance Armstrong I could possibly see. And
he just seems so fake. He hasn't quite come to terms with what it actually is. He's only blaming other people. Yeah. He's not being totally truthful about everything. So I was just like, unless he's completely changed.
So
which he hasn't.
The doc comes out and it's we're on, we just finished part 1, but it's 4 hours and they were not kind to him. And they're letting, what I also noticed was some of the other interviews, like the people he fucked over, they're letting them and their wives speak. And I have a feeling that the second one just aired, I think last night or the night before, is going to be ruthless. That's my guess. And I don't think he had a choice.
Yeah, but
I definitely don't think he had a choice. And I definitely don't think they would let him in the editing room. He was one of the biggest. He was one of the biggest stars on the planet in sports. And it got ripped away from him like that. And I think, I mean, fuck, man. I think he's stuck. I think he was absolutely stuck with this, where it was just like, look, we'll do one on you, but you're not going to say anything. And whatever our edit is, our edit is. And
so he's probably narcissistic enough to be like, there's no way that they can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just going to say what I always say, and I won't give him anything
at all
to go on.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's really taking his punches. I don't know. Maybe he's like, all right, fine, I deserve it.
Maybe.
That would be the only other acceptable answer.
Yeah, he almost doesn't have a choice. And he's so competitive, seeing him get ready for these triathlons and these other things. It's the only place that will let him compete anymore because he can't, race anymore. So it's a strange life. When I watched it, when we watched the first part, and you look at him, you're just like, man, that guy's just a shell of himself. He's just a broken man.
Yeah.
I mean, you took away the only thing that mattered in his life.
But I don't think he was ever a good guy. I don't think he was ever, know, so exactly who he is now is who he's always been. It actually doesn't seem like it has affected him that much. I know he went through some hard times and he's had to pay some money and divorces and things like this, but I really think he's narcissistic enough to be like, you know, I did what I had to do and everyone else was doing it, so I didn't really do anything that wrong.
Yeah.
You know, is what he is saying to himself.
Oh, yeah. Look, a buddy of mine from way back in the day went to UT, and all of them had come out for University of Texas, by the way. All of them had come out for the Rose Bowl in Los Angeles. So McConaughey, Lance Armstrong, all those guys. And they rented this huge house just to party for the weekend in the national championship. It was the Vince Young one, I think. And I want to say it was 06 maybe. But my buddy got invited because he was in the same fraternity and knew all these people, whatever. And I was like, yo. So he calls me, and I was like, the next day, because it was like a 3-day thing that they had planned. And I was like, how is it? Is it crazy? Like, what's going on up there? And he's like, man, it's fucking. He goes, I'm gonna die. I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, I'm so hungover. And he's like, dude, Lance Armstrong will not stop fucking partying. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, man, he's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And he goes, I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, he'll walk around to everybody. There was like 20 people, I guess, like staying in this huge mansion or whatever, right? He's like, he'll walk around to people all throughout the day and be like, what are you drinking? Beer. How many? What number are you on right now? And he's like, I don't know, like 2 or 3. And he was like, oh, cool, man. I've already drank a fucking 12-pack. Quit being a goddamn pussy and start drinking again. Here's a bottle.
He's one of those that you're just like, ugh, it would not be.
Yeah.
It would be annoying.
And then literally,
out with him.
like right after my buddy drank whatever he was passing out or whatever, his phone started ringing. And goes, shit, Michael Jordan ever called you? Probably not. I got to take this outside, and just bounced. And it was like,
to be fair, Michael Jordan had a little bit of that.
Oh
in
yeah,
him too.
100%.
So this series that they're doing, Michael Jordan, Lance, Bruce Lee, they all have sort of a tie. You know, they have a theme.
Yeah, for sure.
And the theme is super competitive people.
And you hold grudges for a long time.
Yeah, when that is your driving force for everything, whether it came from your dad, your stepdad, whatever it is, you tend to not be the greatest human or friend or teammate, husband, father. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You are driven by this like unattainable thing.
Yeah.
And some people can attain it. But there are people out there that are driven by it that aren't that good. Ooh. So it's a bigger nightmare.
The beauty of this story, and I wish our computers work and I'd pop up this picture now, but the beauty of it is after this 3-day bender of staying in this mansion in LA, they go to the Rose Bowl, which is obviously, in my opinion, I think it's one of the greatest games of all time. It was Texas versus USC, and Vince Young ran it in on 4th down, no time left on the clock, scored a touchdown. They were panning to the crowd to see people partying, and there was a box there, and it was McConaughey, Lance Armstrong, and my buddies in the middle of them, and they just won the national championship. It was the biggest moment for Texas ever. My buddy looks like he's going to die, and he's just half-heartedly throwing up a hook 'em horns, and he's just like, McConaughey and Lance are still raging, and he was just like,
no.
You could tell he was on the worst bender of his life for like 3 days, and he just wanted to go home. But he goes, dude, with Lance Armstrong, he goes, you could not, like that guy just, he goes, he doesn't stop all day long. And he goes, I don't even know if he sleeps. He's like, you never saw him sleep. And he's just always moving and doing shit and talking to people and constantly on the phone. And just, they said he just didn't stop.
Because he's doping.
Yeah.
Do you see how great he looked in that doc?
Did you see how great everyone looked in that doc?
Yeah, because they all have the answer. And if you're not being tested or trying to compete, although interessant with Lance, because he is still competing a little bit.
Yeah. He's still fucking doping. There's no way that he's doing that clean. There's no way. I don't even know if you test, though, for like, does your local triathlon, does that test for anything? Probably not. You know?
I don't know.
Nobody cares. But HGH and all that shit is definitely the answer. Every single person in the Lance Armstrong doc is in their late 50s, 60s. Even the mom. You're just like, what are you doing?
Oh, his mom looks like
His sister.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me that blood doping and steroids isn't the best way to go through life? Watch the doc and tell me differently.
Sure.
My God, man. Lance Armstrong looks almost the same as he did when he was, 21 years old? Remember they had that footage of when he was 21 years old? I was like, Jesus Christ. If we end up doing the interview and running into him, I'm going to sit down with him on the show and be like, hey, man, whatever you're taking.
Tell me all
step by step
things and I'll do it.
Who is your doctor? I want to
Who
live
is your
forever.
masseuse?
Yes. Who is it? Who's doing this to you? Who's giving you the toddler blood? I don't know if it's the androchrome? Adrenochrome.
It's all kinds of things. It's
Whatever
all the
it
things.
is, just put a cocktail of it.
It's all the things. It's just new blood. I think he just gets new blood every day.
If I didn't have a fear of needles, fucking dope me up, brother.
Yeah,
Those
you're going to
guys
have
look
to
great.
work that out.
Those guys look great.
You're going to have to figure that one out.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it. I mean, they're just absolutely doing it in that. Last one I want to talk about is that TikTok house, Javes.
Yeah.
We made fun of this fucking house and these bullshit people.
Nightmare.
They rented a mansion in a super nice neighborhood in Los Angeles.
Sure.
And same with like Jake Paul, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Team 10 house or whatever. Well, the TikTok house that we were talking about a few months ago, they're getting the cops called on them every day. People are bitching. The neighbors are saying it's like Coachella out there. They were like, none of them are social distancing. They're on top of each other. I bet it's a huge fucking orgy there.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you they're having the greatest time of their life.
Yeah. And I don't think that. So Jake Paul's, I think, is set back and has land and is kind of away from people, where
Okay.
it looks like the TikTok house is a large condo type thing in LA where people are literally right next to them.
Yeah,
is
the
what it
houses
looks
are,
like.
yeah.
Yeah. So they're not. And it's like, yeah, it's like having a frat house like in your nice neighborhood.
That's exactly what the
You'd be
neighbors are
like,
saying.
It's just a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Nobody has like a bed frame. You know what I mean?
No.
Or a box spring. Like it's all just mattresses and then Target like brown sheets.
Yeah. So what
Do you know what I mean?
what the neighbors were
The
saying
brown color.
was they were like, the amount of Amazon boxes there, just empty Amazon boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and there's broken televisions out in the yard because look, you're smashing up TVs to make TikToks
Mm-hmm.
and whatever. And then they said they were like, there's cars in and out all day long because they don't cook for themselves. So they're constantly ordering Postmates all day long. That's all they're doing is ordering Postmates. So there's a million cars going in and out of the driveway. Look, I think there's like 17 or 18 kids that are living in this house.
Yeah.
Imagine 17 or 18 kids, all between the ages of 19 and like 25 years old. No, dude, they're not cooking for themselves. Whatever they want, they're just ordering off of Postmates, getting shipped to your house for free with the promo code REVOLUTION, which gets you $100 in free delivery fees.
Sure.
And then they're just throwing their Amazon boxes out the window because that's what happens when you rent a house. You don't care what goes on in it.
Yeah. So I remember renting houses in neighborhoods in LA and just like how horrible we were. We had the fire department called on us because of our front lawn before in like a nice,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a normal hood.
Yeah.
And just were like, what the fuck? Fuck you. They just came in and like hung out with us and told us like, take care of it whenever.
The cops did?
Yeah.
Oh,
Cause
that's
like
great.
me and my roommate were boxing inside in like sports bras and like
Oh.
working out.
Yeah, of course.
And they came.
Gloves on?
Yeah.
Ah.
And they came to the door to get us in trouble and kind of just hung out. But anyway, and we weren't kicking them out. They were firefighters. You know what I mean? Obviously. But just the in and out, like we had a motorhome parked like in our driveway forever, like things that now I am like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Right?
As an adult, you're like, holy shit.
As an adult,
As a
you're like,
kid?
holy shit. As a kid
Dream.
that's out on your own, you're like, this is my place. This is my land. I can do whatever I want with it. And you're like, you're going to learn pretty quickly that you never really have land that's yours anymore. You know what I mean? Unless you are out in the country and it's completely separated.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have some people that are going to have a say over your land.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And how it looks and how they want the neighborhood to look and everything.
Yeah.
But my God, I cannot believe, but they all come by it pretty honestly. I mean, they're little kids.
Yeah.
I would hope
part of me doesn't fault them because somebody's paying for this endeavor. So,
oh yeah,
fuck, man, if you could do it and if you could go back, it's kind of like their college right now. So, I get it. It sucks for the neighbors, but whatever, man.
Sure.
You should probably pass something in your HOAs that says no renting,
Right? I mean,
the problem is with these mansions
they
in LA.
don't have HOAs. Like everyone is their own, you know what I mean? But you are going to have neighbors that want their neighborhood or their street to be a certain way.
But
so
if you're renting though, like I think their rent is $30,000 or $40,000 a month.
Right.
If you're the guy who's renting that house, congratulations.
In normal
you just made $400,000 a year off of whoever these fucking kids are.
Right. And in a normal world, that would be a rich guy that's just in town for a little bit that's going to rent there.
Yeah.
Problem is, doesn't always happen that way.
No, definitely doesn't. Definitely does not. But it would be fun. I'm sure that house is a blast.
I mean, yeah, it kind of...
For them.
For them.
They're
It's a nightmare.
They're kind of dorky, but...
For me.
Yeah, but I'm sure
they're
having a blast.
But yeah.
You know.
Fun for them.
Vote for the show on iTunes. Rate it. Review it. Am I saying it wrong?
You definitely don't vote for the show.
I feel like you vote for it.
No, you just rate it.
You voted a 5?
No.
No?
You just rate it.
Rate it a 5 on iTunes.
Yeah.
It helps. It helps move it up the charts. Give us a nice little 5-star review and a rating. I want to give a shout out to the people in the room here, the Nooners. The Nooners in the
What
in
up,
the house.
guys?
Greg Dulesky, Tyler Morris, Julia, is it Kirkus? Like circus?
Yes, Kirkus like
Nailed
circus.
It.
Yep.
Big Dick Danoff is in here. Gregors.
Anne Frank has joined us.
Nico the Greco. Did we ever find out who Anne Frank was? The Hawk?
No, I don't know.
1911 Deathstroke.
She does.
Chris
Anne Frank says I had to deal with the worst HOA ever. So Anne Frank is funny. Whoever it is, we will know someday. We have Brittany. Thanks, Brittany.
Giorgio, you in here?
Yeah.
Your last name is Gregoris? I did not know that. Is that weird? I thought you were just a first name guy. Like Cher.
That's how it is. It's just Giorgio.
That would be a baller move.
Yeah.
Giorgio Topher. Gregoris?
Broman.
Yeah. Logan. Logan's in here.
Word up.
And Chris Beerworth. Look, we appreciate you guys watching. We're here. The Nooner crew is here. We go on right around noon or just afternoon.
Yeah, Monday
through Thursday.
And I am not a part of the Yang Gang, but a 4-day work week. Amazing. All I have to say about that, and I recommend it to everyone. I really do. Gosh, you just come back full of life.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah.
You really do.
Anyways.
And we got 2 huge announcements next month in July that we're amped about that will alter the course of the universe. Will they? Maybe.
Gosh, it's very Lance. It's a very Lance thing to say, but
thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, it'll just be an announcement for our company and you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate you drinking Perrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I had 9 bottles of that before you got on. Drink up. It's very Lance of me, isn't it?
Very Lance. It's very Lance.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. For Jessie Wiseman, a.k.a. the Jables, I'm Ross Patterson. This is The Revolution. Good afternoon, everyone. And if you're on YouTube, stay tuned to Drinkin Bros podcast in about an hour.